The organisation I'm going to talk about today is Smart Kid. It's our charitable organisations that we started 14 years ago from our project management company called Smart World. So Smart Kid was founded by myself and my then 5-year-old daughter. Smart stands for Supermom's Heart, and it's reflected in all of our logos with always a heart as a core of what we do. It's a fun and creative workshops that we provide to children that we say are normally not provided in school, because back then when we was researching, we was finding that a lot of the creative and fun classes were being removed from the educational system. So we've had workshops over the last, how many years? 1 second. 14. Probably around 30 or so different workshops. Oh, why is this not moving down properly? 1 second. Yeah. Our workshops are designed for children aged 2 to 18. We have separate different groupings. There's normally about 3 different groupings that we do. And because of the affiliation with the project management company, the project management company will be working with certain experts in their area, and then their give back is normally a workshop or a class for the Smart Kids charity. So over the years, we've had a number. Let me see if I actually just go down that page down. Okay, not fully. Over the years, we've had workshops in regards to entrepreneurship, finance, and we've made it fun. The standard things like art and roller skating and a certain style of football called Brazilian soccer. We've done things to help families, regards to family trees, and even when people are not connected to families, we show who do you have in your friends and family circle kind of trees, because we've worked a lot with social services over the years. Our aims are in regards to always making sure the children are the forefront of our workshops. So each year we always do a youth forum, and we have the young people say what kind of classes that they're interested in, and it's gone from like hacking and coding to gardening and juicing and cooking. And we've had a number of different organizations who we've partnered with: Metro Bank, Barclays Bank, a music organization under the PRS, and who else was that? One of our long term is probably Metro Bank. They always want to give us a space because they like the fact that we can bring a number of children to them. Come down a bit. So we've done different, we have a different arm for how we do things. Sometimes we are providing a need for a school who doesn't really have any facilities after school. Sometimes we're doing holiday programs for a housing organization who the kids on their estates doesn't have much to do. And we've also partnered with large government areas where they want us to come and do stuff for the whole borough. Those are actually quite fun because you can get to do around like 30, 40 different workshops in and around the borough. And these are some of the companies that we've partnered with, and we've had more over the years, but this is a good slide that I didn't update. And for more information, you can go to our Smart Kid website, or our Twitter, and even Instagram. Everything's Smart Kid UK or just Smart Kid. Is there any questions at all?
Sure, Marcia, I'm getting into the Jackie habit now. Can you tell us a bit more about your own backgrounds?
Say that again?
Could you tell us a bit more about your own background in technology?
Oh, okay. Okay, so Yeah, so my background, I started off as a Microsoft engineer, moved into Cisco networking, and then moved into Apple because I couldn't believe that Microsoft got away with such basic stuff compared to what Apple was doing. I started a project management company 14 years ago with a speciality in tech initially. Done a bit more research in regards to how the industries are moving and added media to it with a particular business partner called Super Serena. And over the last, 7 years, our focus has been between tech and media and yeah, working with organizations on how they want to grow and improving their growth aspect. My field is obviously the tech side because of my background, but I have a passion for Black-owned businesses just because I've seen the massive disparity in the wealth and over in the UK and especially compared to the US, even the Caribbean, just some of the business growth patterns are hugely different. So yeah, my focus has been for the last 5 years. We've done different projects, and some of the projects we've had to co-found because we researched and realized there was a need for certain things. So certain things I'm happy we've been able to help to inspire. Yeah. So yeah. So some of the projects are from traders, from a traders project, a Black Love project, having more imagery of brown and black children in the media, an International Men's Days project where we've got people and hope to influence others to provide more events for International Men's Day. What's the other ones? Oh, smart, the main one, smart technology. Founded Smart World 15 years ago with the aim of getting smart all over the world. When I started the company, I'd listed 60 different things that I wanted to attach it to. And now smart is a household name without knowing where the background came from. But yes, so that's a bit more about me.
Sure.
Is there any other questions at all?
I do have
happy to answer anything.
I do have one more follow-up to that, which is, as a woman in the tech world, what has been your experience?
Okay, so I was classed as UK's Microsoft youngest black female in Microsoft engineering, which I kind of bypassed and didn't really market for about 10 years. And I did that because I realized that when I did my Cisco's networking and Cisco's professional, I was the first black female to do it again. So I thought there's obviously something wrong. In my family, I'm like the only girl out of 8 first cousins. So the environment wasn't unfamiliar to me. But when I realized that again, I'm the first black female in these zones, I was like, something's wrong. So partnered with an organization called the STEMettes to get more girls into tech and STEM. And my focus is on engineering because that's my background. So yeah, they do lots of different workshops all over the world. The STEMettes do hackathons, week projects, weekend projects, 6 weeks project, online projects. And there's a large team of them building up over the years. I'm part of their STEM Million program to make sure, well, the smart kids are part of the STEM Million program to make sure more women, especially engineers, like female engineers, hopefully some more can come into. So each class that I ever learned, I always taught as well and made sure I flung open those doors. I actually literally grabbed black women off the street to come and do some of the Cisco stuff. So yeah.
Wow.
Hi, Marcia. This is Marquitas. As someone who also like sort of develops programs for like, college students, young high school kids. This is like really great. I'm so like happy to see this and see how successful it is. I had two questions. One is, how do you recruit your students? Do you have some kind of method to do that? I mean, do you target high schools or how do you do that? What's that process like? And then secondly, do you have a monitoring and evaluation component to your program? So how do you say what's a success? What does success look like for a particular program? And are you sort of, looking at students where they go after they participated in these programs? For example, what are the outcomes? Are they going on to, be engineers or what's the outcome of the students who are participating in these programs? So how do you measure success?
Okay, when we first started, we were still in contact with the children for a certain length of time. Our classes go up to age 18, depending on the sometimes the funding or demographics. It can go up to 25. So what we were finding was some of the children didn't actually want to let go. So we had to extend it to the 25 because they're classed as youth as well. And what was happening was our project management company would then help them with if it's their business or a particular community project that they wanted to start or charity. So a lot of our young people from the beginning, we still have contact with now. We've got a 25, George is 24, a 25-year-old, a 24-year-old currently who started about 11 years ago. She done some of our workshop 11 years ago. She's still she volunteers for Smart Kids. Sometimes, depending on the project, she gets paid for some of the stuff they do. But a lot of the monitoring has tightened up over the last 9 years. And it's beautiful to actually see. So some of for instance, I think our impact report, I didn't email it, it's not on this computer. All right, for our impact report, we have say we've got a small class of 20 children doing the Biz Kids. Half of those children, so 10 children then went on to start a business, and their range was from about 9 to 14. And obviously they had the help of their parents. 7 of them made it successfully, and around 5 of them are still trading now 5 years later. Those are the kind of outcomes that Metro Bank kind of enjoy and like. We have I always say, there seems to be a pattern. So no matter how much attend, half then really engage, and then it drops down to about a quarter that go on to do something in that area. So from clothes customizing, a few of our young people now, I've merged some of the classes, so they do clothing and customized clothing along with the Biz Kids classes that we did. So they run clothing companies, and I always get our young people to do their best to collaborate as well, to build a team. So it's beautiful to see that happening. Our Brown Talent project was focused on bringing more brown children into media for those projects. So I think it's 7 or 8 years ago, initially we did certain fashion shows and getting social media images out there. And we opened up, a lot of the children then opened up a lot of social media pages. And now, still on magazines, we may get billboards and some posters, but we're still working in the area to merge the Smart World and the Smart Kids projects, because the magazine coverage is still not quite it's not as quite as in our face as some of the posters that we may see or some of the adverts that come on telly. But we're getting there. It was a 10-year project, so some of the workshops that we do are long-term for the kids as well, families.
Amazing outcomes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Marcia. Thank you so much for that. That was brilliant. It's an exciting project. I want to take classes there. There's a lot I could have learned when I was younger. um, I
Do you know
wonder.
we have a lot of the parents who do that?
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Because my question. Well, first, would you mind stopping the screen share? I'd like to be able to see you better as I talk.
Yeah,
But
okay, yes, of course.
I was wondering about the, and you kind of touched upon that, the parental support question, but I was also wondering about the demographic breakdown, sort of race, gender, and class. Where are these kids coming from? What schools are they coming from? What's your recruiting process? And then, of course, what's the parental support and what need do the families see you fulfilling in that way? It's quite evident, but I was just curious how that works out. So, sort of demographic breakdown,
So,
and yeah.
so when it first started, there was like we were doing it for a need. So 14 years ago, 14, I'd say between 14 and 10 years ago, what was happening was we were supporting either people who wanted to run workshops or people who ran workshops and didn't have enough children. And with the project management company Smart World, we had a large network of people we could tap into. So from we done pan-London schools. It tended to be London, and some of them concentrated in the areas that the head office was, which is in Southwark. But it was always between three main boroughs: Southwark, Lambeth, and a borough called Newham, because they had some like triangle of what is it called? Art and creative zone. That's what, yeah, the art and creative zone. So we found the uptake to be predominantly in those areas, but it is a pan London. We do all parts of London. What After 10 years, we started to, instead of doing one-off workshops or one-away workshops, we then did a like all-day kind of school during the holidays and the weekends. And what we was finding, which discouraged me, was that parents didn't care. They just wanted to drop their children somewhere for the day. So we had to, after about 2 years of doing that, it was draining, and the kids weren't engaged into some of the workshops during those times. So we stopped doing that after a few years, and we focused more back on just doing workshops delivered for organizations or putting on ones that we saw the need for in the community. So I always say the all-day projects don't work.
Yeah.
If you want to focus on the workshop. Yeah. What was happening, a lot of the parents came to some of our workshops and stayed, especially Biz Kids. A lot of them, because Biz Kids is basically in 90 minutes, you learn how to do your marketing, business plan, marketing strategy, and know who your target audience is. And the parents were fascinated. A lot of the parents came and supported their children a lot, if not had their own type of business they wanted to start up to.
Pretty amazing. And I'm not quite familiar with the neighborhoods and districts of England. So I was curious, again, in terms of ethnicity and gender and sort of class, what socioeconomic class are we working with here?
Our classes are always mixed. So it would go by the demographics of the area. So a lot of Southwark is predominantly disadvantaged area in London, and so is Newham, and so is Lambeth. And so we would have people from what's it called, like a lower class come in, who, if it was funded classes, they would benefit from having free classes. If we would be asked to come into the schools, it will be the demographic of the school. Some children, if it was paid classes, we would tend to see still a mixture. A majority of black younger children. And then as the classes got in, like the STEMettes is still extremely mixed. I would say it's like a 40-50 split. Let me think of that impact report. Yeah, if the classes are in, for instance, Richmond, another area in London, if they're in Richmond, that demographic tends to have a more middle class. So it just went with each demographic. It wasn't really able to pull out the poorest children in the richest area type thing. So yeah, and our advertisement, if we're booked for a school, the school's doing adverts because they want the children from the school to go there. If it's the estates who are booking the classes, then the estates. But our community one would go anywhere, pan London and outside of London. So some of our community projects have gone where people, any parts of England, we had people coming from Scotland